We never started an endurance race at midnight. It felt like it at 6 a.m. Take a beautiful little lap around Mount Panorama in the pitch dark. Let me tell you, that's quite exciting on cold tires. And to start the race, your tires aren't warm yet, and it's a challenge. Let me tell you, you're right up against the car in front of you, and you can see nothing. There are no lights on this track, so for a lap or two, it's quite demanding. And after that, everybody settles down. We did just fine. I got passed in lap 1 or 2 by one Mercedes, and 5 laps later got it back. Gave the car to Alain Lee in good shape, and he did exactly the same thing. He drove nicely, and then unfortunately a little bit of rain came down just as Frank Yu got in the car, and he's on hard tires, and it's very, very hard to control the car. And he was one of 3 in a row. Cars that hit the wall in the rain. We had a Mazda right after us, and we had one of the big Mercedes. And unfortunately, at these temperatures and at these speeds, with the walls surrounding this entire track, if you go off, you're taking a car out of the race, unfortunately. But I had a ball. The stint I got was fantastic. I managed to learn a little bit following some of the fast boys, and had a good time, wonderful time. Certainly want to be back here next year.
It was under a safety car condition when Alan pitted, and so I was on the old set of slicks, and the minute I got in the car, it started raining, and it was pouring down in the conrod and the backside, and I was trying to keep up the pace, and in turn 2, in my 4th lap, in turn 2, the back end just went out on me, and concrete barrier, nothing I could do.
I don't know, it's always dangerous when people keep saying to you, everything going well, and you're going, yep, no problems, and all week we've had no problems. We haven't had a thing since we fired the engine up the first time this week, and then you know, the walls up the mountain there are pretty unforgiving, as is any concrete wall. And Frank, when we had the little downpour of rain, everybody stayed out. It didn't look like it was going to stay wet for long, so everybody stayed out on slicks, including Frank, but he lost temperature in his tyres. Spun, hit the wall, front and back. You know, we can repair the rear. We can, you know, we've got all the parts, but unfortunately there's chassis damage, and the chassis damage is structural enough in the crush zones to you know, make us make the decision that car's out of the race, which is pretty hard to take. Everything was going to plan. We were running 2 laps longer on fuel than anybody else, which was our strategy. So we were going to catch up on a pit stop less than everybody by the end of the race. But you know, you've got to get there. So we're back where I started. Pretty disappointing. We've got an awful lot to be optimistic about, and an awful lot to look forward to this year. Feels like we've sort of done a season already, and here we are in February with the Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and this race. But you know, back home the crew are getting the McLarens ready. We've been testing with them already. Everything's going really well with them. We're really pleased. We're pretty excited. The driver lineup for the Pro-Am class with Blundell, Patterson, and Zach Brown in it is a strong one, and for the Pro class, I'm not so sure I could have picked a stronger one, and we got who we wanted. And as long as we do the work on the car and it's reliable, we know it's going to be on the pace. It's down to us really as the teams now to take what McLaren give us and turn it into a race winner.